So precisely on a discussion on entrepreneurship, because he's the utmost entrepreneur, I would say, James. So James was a speaker at the Bpifrance event 1 month ago. You can also look at that on YouTube. He was very convincing, of course, in front of 3,000 people. And he talked about his experience. But what he did in France, why not doing it in Kenya? Tell us where you started and what was your vision when you decided to go for it?
Thank you very much. So my journey of entrepreneurship started 35 years ago. And broadly, I saw an opportunity in the gap in financial access. Only 4% of Kenyan population had bank accounts. As Ride said, financial services have failed in Kenya. Can we be? There's nobody in the marketplace, because the marketplace would be the 96% that is excluded. And broadly, we developed a concept that was different from the structure of the banking industry. And we focused on inclusion. We made inclusion using capacitation, de-risking, low margin, high volume business model. To cut the short, the long story, 35 years of entrepreneurship short, today, while we picked the license of a technically insolvent building society, which was not even a bank, it was a microfinance institution, we have used that license to build the largest bank in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of market cap, the largest balance sheet in East and Central Africa. We hold 60% of all bank accounts in Kenya. And along the way, we realized the problems in Kenya were the same problem in any of the African economies. So 2012, we said, can we try this model in other countries? We are now in 6 countries. And in the 12 years that we have been in regional expansion, we have made it to the top 3 banks in those 6 markets, becoming fairly systemic. The model has remained unique. It is built on innovation, innovation, innovation. In 2005, it won the Global Vision Award during the G8 Summit in Germany. In 2012, it won the Ernst & Young World Enterprise of the Year. And in 2020, it won the Oslo Business for Peace Award. Essentially, when we realized we had disrupted banking, we asked ourselves, can we extend this to other financial needs? And recently, we started insurance. And in our first 2 years of operation, we have become the 4th largest insurance company in Kenya out of 56 insurance companies. We then decided, can we do health? Can we disrupt health? In 5 years, we have become the largest outpatient health provider in sub-Saharan Africa. So entrepreneurship is understanding gaps and developing solutions for those gaps. So that has been my experience. Now, in terms of numbers, because people like talking about numbers, from a $300 balance sheet, we are now a $14 billion balance sheet. And in Kenya shillings, 2.7 trillion, which is equal to 11% of the GDP of Kenya. So it's quite a huge challenge. So lessons is just see the gaps and address the gaps. The gaps may be in affordability, in accessibility, in quality, and in structure of the taste of the customer, the culture of the customer. So we now, as saying, we've done it in insurance, it's now scaling. We've done it, can we do it in technology? So we are now forming the 4th group, the insurance, the technology company, but it's all need-driven. Thank you.
Was there any moment when you thought you would not make it in that story? Tell the truth.
Of course, behind a very good story, there are also quite challenges that has overcome. Equity is a story of overcoming challenges. Of course, the first one is when you have a runaway success like we have had, and you are regulated, and of course, you are leveraged, capital becomes the biggest constraint. So while we really might have started as an enterprise, Equity today is a global company with its headquarters in Africa. Our largest shareholder is the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. They hold 15%. That's the largest sovereign wealth fund on earth with $1.4 trillion. The second largest shareholder is the World Bank with 8% held by AFC. And then the usual global suspects of choosing private equity, whether it's Fidelity, Wellington, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, UBS, they are all there. So there is a question of when we founded the bank, but it's good to be a small fish in the ocean than a big fish in a cup of water. So that you can see the challenge you have really to have that. Now, to be able then to maintain that is then hold yourself to the highest governance structures. Those people have come because of three things. Very strong governance structures that gives them confidence and faith that there will be no surprises. The second one is that has brought them is high growth. We've been growing tenfold every 5 years. You know, you could imagine now, for a business leader, you could imagine managing that growth. Every prediction is that you would improve from within, but we have been able to manage that growth. The third one is they are looking for return. And we have sustained a return in a compounded over 35 years of over 40%. Now you could imagine you are growing tenfold every 5 years, and you are retaining an annual return of 40%. What does it translate? It translates anybody who had a share in the year 2000 has now 600 shares out of bonuses and splits. Because we pay 30% dividend, the dividend payout is 30%, we retain 60% to fund the bank. So that 60% we keep on giving them split and bonuses shares. Now you can imagine. So when you quantify that wealth, every dollar that was in the bank as an investment in 2000 is now $1,800. You can imagine the wealth we have created for the shareholders. So there is a price that you have to pay for quite difficult. The last one is, and it's what I think Kenyans are seeing we are going through, is step change. When you grow that, we realized we have to reinvent ourselves every 10 years, completely disrupt ourselves. We change the governance structures, we change the strategy, we change people, we change processes, we change systems, and of course, we change the offering, both products and channels, because the customers have moved, the market has moved. If you don't make those very tough changes, you fail. So like now we are going through maybe the biggest question, we released the results on Tuesday, and I was asked, James, it appears all the people you worked with, none of them is there. When are you leaving? And he said, why? Because you keep on layering people. Because managing a balance sheet, 11% of the GDP of the largest economy in this country, require experienced hands. The people who were managing $300 balance sheet can't be managing $14 billion. You have to be bold and courageous. What it means, you leave it to the market to decide, but you do what you need to do. So, yeah, so then the answer I gave is that entrepreneurs don't retire. They are not employees.
So we're here to energize entrepreneurs, of course. So, I mean, what would be your basic advices? Because at the end of the day, there is a secret sauce of James Mwangi. Huh? The secret sauce of the way you could, spend first year, second year, third year, not die, fourth, 5 year, not die, continue to grow, not die, continue, not die, and then scale. What was the secret sauce?
I think the secret sauce, one, is understanding the market. Entrepreneurship is about fulfilling the demand of the market. You must always be demand-driven, never supply-driven. You fail. You have to respond to the market. The question is, do you really listen to the market to understand, or you listen to respond? You must listen to the market to understand. You must hear the sound of the river. The market may not be telling what you think, but the market is correct. The second advice I would say is when you really, like us, you have to keep on innovating and reinventing yourself. The market is always on the move. If the market moves faster than you, then you die. So and the only way to move faster than the market is constantly trying to be ahead of the market. And you try to be ahead of the market through innovation. It's innovating. Not just what the customers need today, but what they need tomorrow. 72% of the loan book of equity is to SMEs. And the question is, as SMEs grow, their needs change. So if you keep on giving them what you gave them 2 years ago, then they move to the banks that are offering them the right products. That ability. And of course, that then dictates two things. You have always to change your processes. You have to always change your systems. And you have to change your offering. And you are thinking, whether you want to call it strategy, and the governance structure that hold things together. To be able to do that, you have to surround yourself with the people who are better than you. If you have people who are weaker than you, then they don't add value, because they always wait for you to direct them. You need people who can learn independent and who wins your trust because they are better than you. So whoever joins me, and I can give you an example. Joy, maybe you could start. Joy was the former chief executive of President Jimmy Carter Foundation.
Before that, she was the vice president of CNN for 15 years. I had to do whatever it took to bring joy to Africa, to build the brand. What do I have to show? 5 years later, Equity has the highest valued brand in East and Central Africa, is the strongest financial brand in Africa, and the second strongest financial brand in the world.
President was from the
I think that